What's up guys, my name is Komar and today is an exciting day because I'm gonna be building a shed. Not just your regular old shed, but I'm gonna be putting it right underneath my kids' playhouse area. They don't need it. They don't even use it, right? Who doesn't do that? There's like weeds and stuff. And the reason why I'm doing this because I looked at shed prices and they're through the roof. For what I want, $3 grand.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Not installed. We don't have that kind of money. So we're gonna build a shed. Let's do it. Welcome to the Komar project. Okay, so there's a whole lot of weeds underneath there and probably branches and a bunch of other stuff that needs to go bye-bye first. So I'm just gonna throw on some protective clothing. Hope none of my neighbors are watching and get to work. Bugs. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Believe me guys, when I get dressed in the morning, it's the same thing. Okay, let's do it finally. There's a whole tree here. Oh, really? This looks spiky. Nailed it!
All right, so after complaining a whole lot about pokey things, I decided to man up and get the big toy out. That did great, but I still had a bunch of grass around the post that needed to be done.
And the best way of doing it is having your buddy come over and actually doing the work for you. Thanks for coming.
Unless your buddy just came over to drink your beer and you're stuck putting the weed barrier in yourself. This clubhouse was already here when we bought the house, and the main support structure is 4 6x6s on some concrete pillars. So to make things easy, I'm gonna be framing this just like a deck. Since all the pillars were at different heights, pick the highest pillar. Then I could place my first ledger board on it and level everything else off to that height. Once all 4 sides were in, I could screw a 2x6 to the bottom of a ledger to act as a support when I'm going to be installing the joists. But first, I needed to lay out their locations. I marked the top of the ledger board 16 on center and transfer those marks down. This will ensure that the joist stays square when I'm nailing them in place. Then over at my workstation, I can start cutting all of them with a circular saw.
Short. Cut on my joists, I measured from the outside instead of on the inside. What a dope I am.
I guess it's better to be too long than too short, but it's still frustrating when you measure twice, cut once, and you're still wrong. But no big deal. After measuring everything again, things went a lot smoother. Nothing a little brute force can't fix. Right now, some of you might be saying to yourself that this deck is going to need a lot more support from underneath, and the spans that I'm working with are not going to hold the weight. I couldn't agree with you more. But the plan for the shed is to last a couple of months in its current location, and putting additional pillars or beams will disrupt the plans that I have moving forward. And if you guys haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe and the bell notification because the upcoming video is going to explain everything.
Pounding joist hangers is not easy, as you guys can tell. I'm a little spent. But at least this part of the deck is done. Tomorrow we're getting our sheeting delivery and we're gonna sheet this and start on the walls. Motivation. Age. Let me show you guys around, and I'm taking my hornet wasp spray because there's a ton of hornets all throughout this whole structure. So the stairs, they're pretty steep. It's basically like a ladder. Got a little screen door. Let's see if we have any wasps in here. Die. So those guys should be dead. Anywhere else? Up there. Okay, we're out of here, and I think we picked the hottest, most humid day to start this project, but goodbye. Anybody else want to play? I mean, from up here, you could see just about the entire property. And if I was a kid, I'd totally be hanging out up here. And my girls, well, they like their electronics a lot. So let's make this thing a place for us. All right, today I'm finally ready to do some framing, and it's gonna be a little bit different because I have to bring the top ledger or the top plate 3/4 of an inch below where I'm calling them shims, below where my shims are. And later when the roofing gets here, I can actually slide it in there because it won't be here for about 7 to 10 days. So it's gonna get a little bit tricky framing this thing, but we can do it. Remember that if you're framing, whether it's a shed or a deck, you're gonna need lots of nails. All right, and in this wall right here, I'm gonna be putting in a window, and every window is gonna have a roof opening, which means that's the opening that you're framing for, not the actual size of the window. It's a little bit bigger than the window, but then the window has these little flaps that'll cover everything up. You guys will see. How are you going to get me new suspenders? Maybe now I won't be sagging my tool belt. I know that's a thing, but these are heavy duty. Hello, ladies. Oh, flies open. Fan heaven.
Framing a window is not difficult. I think of it like stacking things in a sandwich. The sill, which is your ham, goes on top of the cripple, which is your mayo. Then the jack stud, your cheese, and the header, your tomato, is all held together by the king stud, your baguette. See, it's simple. So with the walls done, I need to frame in the door opening and make sure that the tractor can fit. And because I'm not good with math, I asked Honey Bunny to help.
Driving in, then I have this thing to worry about. Door to it, right? That's enough. To there.
Okay, I want as big and tall of a door as you can get.
So based on the boss's recommendation, or what the military calls a direct order, I'm gonna go with a 6-foot opening. And to accommodate that, I need to make a strong header by laminating plywood with construction adhesive between some 2x6s.
Got ourselves a door. I mean, it's not a door yet, but it's a fully functioning pull-up bar. All right, today is sheathing day, and hopefully this is gonna go fairly quickly because it's gonna rain tomorrow. And I gotta get this thing wrapped up so I kind of prevent the water. It's still gonna get in there when it rains, but at least if we Tyvek it, it might protect some of the plywood, so let's do it.
For the outside, I'm using 1/2-inch OSB, and since my shed is 8 foot high, it made sheathing it super easy because I didn't have to cut any of them down. And for the openings, I don't worry about measuring and cutting everything out beforehand. I just use a Sawzall from the inside and cut along the studs.
Hey, got ourselves a window.
Now that the plywood is up, we can now install the house wrap. But
first, you actually want to check to make sure your rough opening is the right size. You don't want to actually go through the process of sheathing everything, making sure it's waterproof, and then find out your window doesn't fit. Don't ask me how I know.
the wrap is fairly straightforward to put up with a few staples. Just remember, if you get a smaller 4-foot roll, start with the bottom and then work your way up. But I was lucky, I got a 10-foot roll and it went up without any issues. Next, I could cut the opening for the window and door and start waterproofing with a rubber membrane. You want to start with the sill and make sure that the corners are well sealed. This is where most leaks occur. Then I applied a generous amount of silicone to the opening and the window and secured the flaps with stainless steel screws. And finally, I applied the membrane over the Tyvek and the window to seal everything up.
Time to make some doors, and I'm gonna be using 2x4s, plywood, and some hinges. Should be fairly simple and painless. Ow!
Because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get to the siding, I went ahead and I wrapped the doors with the house wrap as well. This is gonna give me a little bit of a water barrier and prevent moisture from getting into the plywood until I can actually figure out what I wanna do with the exterior. But till then, I can safely store our lawnmower, the kids' bikes, and anything else we want to keep out of the rain without having to worry about it. Alright guys, so I really enjoyed this project and I hope you did too. If you want to see what's next on this build, make sure you hit that subscribe and the bell notification because the evolution of the shed is not done yet. It's going to make a remarkable transformation before it's done and I don't want you guys to miss it. Thank you so much for joining me on this experience. I'll see you guys next time.
A disaster. Damn bugs! Tools. I need good tools. Good souls.